69 people in here. Nice. Run my likes up. Run my likes up. $50 likes before it starts. 50 likes. $50 likes, 50 likes. 10 more likes, 10 more likes. Yeah. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Run it back, nation. We're at 49 likes. That's good enough. Run it back, nation. What is good? It is I, DJ Eastwood, Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. That was not an intro. I see you in the chat. That was not an intro. If you think that was an intro, you are the fraud. All right? Algo Gang, I need you to continue to do your thing on the streams and the videos. It's the only way to push the content through the YouTube algorithm. I now run 2 separate YouTube channels, Run It Back Philly and Run It Back Birds. If you want all the Eagles content, that is on Run It Back Birds. Make sure you subscribe to that if you want the Eagles content. And for you, it's free. All we ask as YouTube content creators, podcast hosts, whatever, is for you to hit the little thumbs up. Hit the like button. That's all we ask. It goes a long way. It does a lot for the channel, for the business, for everything. And be active in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, leave a comment, put your favorite emoji in there, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all for the algo. Speaking of podcasts, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other podcast platform in beautiful mastered audio. If you want to listen to these episodes, while you're mowing the grass, doing the dishes, or you just don't want to hear your wife anymore, you want to put in your AirPods and hear DJ Eastwood scream about the Philadelphia 76ers or the fact that Jalen Hurts hurt his shoulder because of the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff, catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts. And go leave me a review, man. That's how you rank up podcasts on Apple's algorithm. The more reviews, the better. All right? Let's get down to business. Lucci produced, I see you in the chat. The Philadelphia 76ers beat the Toronto Raptors 104-101 in overtime. An overtime game for the Philadelphia 76ers on a Monday night in December. And that's relatively annoying. That is relatively annoying. It's mostly annoying because they should have won the game in regular time. There was 2 final possessions that I absolutely hated. And the last one at the end of the fourth quarter with 6 seconds left, you get it to Joel Embiid, who has to create something out of nothing. Like, it's consistent with this team that nobody can draw up a play. It's consistent. I just don't get it. How do you not have a play drawn up to get Joel Embiid in a better position than 40 feet away from the rim with 6 seconds on the shot clock? He's a center. He's a very skilled center. He's one of, I know people get mad when I say he's the most skilled center of all time. He's one of the most skilled centers of all time. I don't think anybody can argue that. But he's not a shot creator. He's not a guy that should be catching the ball 40 feet away from the basket with 6 seconds on the clock. And he shoots a step-back jumper. He's made those before. It doesn't mean that's the play you should be going to. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, where do we want to start with this game? It's the Toronto Raptors. You know the history of the Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers. As of late, the past couple of years, I'll say, recent history is that, the Toronto Raptors and Nick Nurse play great defense against Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, in recent past, the Sixers, playoffs, etc., have not necessarily had the greatest supporting cast around Joel Embiid. And while I don't think this supporting cast is absolutely perfect, I don't think any team in the NBA is perfect. This supporting cast is much better than supporting cast that he's had in the past couple of years. You talk about PJ Tucker fighting on Siakam throughout the course of the game and mainly the fourth quarter and overtime. You talk about the addition of DeAnthony Melton, Mr. Do Everything, coming up huge on a couple of plays toward the end of the game. You talk about James Harden being back in shape and being, the James Harden that we all know. And yeah, did James Harden struggle in the game? Sure. But this supporting cast is a little bit better and deeper than the supporting cast that Joel Embiid is used to against the Toronto Raptors, or than the supporting cast that Toronto Raptors are used to Joel Embiid having. Which the reason I'm saying this is because Nick Nurse's game plan was the same as it always seems to be against the Sixers, which is throw the kitchen sink at Joel Embiid. Make the Sixers shoot threes, right? Run zone, double and triple, quick doubles and triples to Joel every time he touches the ball. The difference is the Sixers now have a roster that can make you pay for playing that kind of defense on Joel Embiid. They got guys that can make shots. DeAnthony Melton was 0 for 8 before he made a couple of big ones late in the game. But they have guys that can make big shots. Tobias Harris, huge at the end of the game. So guys made them pay for bringing all that pressure to Joel Embiid. And Joel, of course, I talk about it all the time, but Joel has improved and evolved as a facilitator. So when those doubles and triples come quickly, Joel now, this season, I think, is he's averaging the most assists he's ever averaged in his career. Joel is getting a lot better at, kicking the ball out of those double teams and getting the swing and eventually finding the open man. So I don't think the Toronto Raptors defense worked against Joel Embiid as well as it normally does, or as well as it used to in recent memory. Joel, against the Toronto Raptors, drops 28, 11, 4, and 2. 28 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. 2 blocks, by the way. 2 blocks that were both called goaltends. 2 blocks on Siakam that were both called goaltends. And I don't know what it is with the officials and Pascal Siakam. As DJ Eastwood coined him last season when he broke Joel Embiid's face in the playoffs with his elbow. I don't know where or when Pascal Siakam started getting superstar treatment, but he gets it. He absolutely gets it. But anyway, I think my main takeaway from this game is that the Toronto Raptors did defensively what we're used to them doing, but we handled it. Joel handled it, and the team and the supporting cast and everybody else handled it a lot better than I'm necessarily used to them handling it. I used to say the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors, two teams that can strategically slow down Joel Embiid by throwing the kitchen sink at him. 28 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks that were called goaltends. So I really think Joel Embiid is getting to the point where, and I said this last video, and I'll say this every single podcast episode, I'll say it every single post-game episode, Joel's at the peak. He might be at his peak right now. He keeps getting better. Every season he gets better. But he's 100% healthy, and now he's evolved as a passer and a ball mover. It's looking to me like the players and the teams that used to slow down Joel Embiid aren't having as much success doing so this season. A slow game for Joel Embiid right now, a slow game for Joel Embiid is 28 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks that were called goaltends. It's the MVP. He's the MVP of the league. There's no denying it. He's the best damn player on the planet right now. And if you don't think that, you're a fraud. Tobias Harris came up huge. Huge. Back-to-back threes in overtime to basically put this game away. Now, one of them was taken away, which I thought was fucking insane. But back-to-back threes to put this game away, and the last one put us up. It was taken away, but we were up 3. Toronto has to try to draw up a play, and their plan is for Pascal to ISO and shoot a 3, which, you know, if Pascal Siakam is shooting a 3 to try to tie a game, you know, what real plan do you actually have, or what real roster do you actually have? I understand Pascal is their go-to guy, but when you're down 3, I'm probably not going Pascal Siakam to tie the game. That's what they did, and he missed it, and we win the game. It was crazy. It wasn't perfect. It was ugly. There was a lot of things we did wrong. But we, again, the Sixers. Why is everyone making so much fucking noise? Where are you? Hold on. I got to find my cat. I have a cat who every time I start a live show wants to be part of the action. And he just starts doing all kinds of shit, scratching at doors, clawing the carpet. Like, what are you doing, bro? Go away. Anyway. So James Harden, 14 points. 8 assists, of course, it's James Harden. 8 assists is light work for James Harden. He's the best passer in the game. I don't care what anybody says. A steal, 7 rebounds. James, he struggles against the Toronto Raptors. Long, athletic players. A lot of times, Scotty Barnes on him. Scotty Barnes is a big, athletic dude. I'm not real keen on running James Harden ISOs against the Toronto Raptors in crunch time. He's just probably not gonna school Scotty Barnes one-on-one. That's a tall, long, athletic defender who's pretty much gonna stick with him. And a couple of times late in the game, I'm like, what are we doing here? ISO, stand around, stagnant. Even the broadcast is calling it out now. Even Kate Scott and Ala Abdenabi are calling it out. Oh, the Sixers are really, really standing around, really not much movement going on here. So, the end of the third quarter, into the fourth, we get stuck in this slump, right? Let me look at my notes here, because the end of the third quarter is where it really went wrong for us. We were controlling most of the game. the second quarter, the bench went on that run to start the second quarter, okay? And I immediately thought, and I think I said out loud, I'm seeing things working right now that I don't think are going to continue to work. You know, when the Sixers go all bench lineup in the second quarter, Matisse Thybulle hits a three from the top of the key. Daniel House goes on a personal 5-0 run with a step or seven. I think he had seven in the second. A step back three, a drive and a finish and one. Shake Milton getting buckets, reverse layups, all these things happening. You had a little scuffle in the second quarter. You know, you got Siakam talking to Embiid because Siakam's been throwing elbows the whole game. PJ Tucker steps up and yells, "You ain't tough," and you could hear him yell it on the TV screen. So I love that. You know, I love me some sports fights, and I love the fact that PJ Tucker likes to be in it. But I think. You know, we went on a run with the bench in that second quarter, and then Toronto went on a little bit of a run towards the end of the second quarter, and then James Harden goes on a personal 5-point swing at the end of the second quarter. A step back three, I believe, and then a strong drive and finish at the rim. But I saw success with the bench lineup in the second quarter that I kind of knew. Like, listen, if you're up in a game and you kind of feel like it's because Daniel House Jr. went on a 5-7-point run, or George Niang hit a big three, or Shake Milton, but like, I just didn't feel incredibly safe with it, you know? And that same bench lineup, Montrezl Harrell was part of it too in that second quarter run. He had a couple of tough buckets under the rim, catching the ball deep, getting the hook shot, offensive rebound, catches the pick and roll where James Harden passes it through the defender's legs, nutmegged him, you know. Sixers sideline reporter wouldn't say nutmeg. She just said James Harden megged the defender. And I'm like, come on, bro. If you're going to use the terminology, use it correctly. It's called a nutmeg. But that same lineup, Glenn Rivers felt very confident with. And at the end of the third quarter, he did the same thing. And here's what happened. All right. 5 straight from Embiid to start the third quarter. A three from the top of the key, and then a driving dunk where everybody got out of the way. Business decision on everybody. I liked it. Then Toronto goes on a 10-2 run. James Harden takes Siakam to the rim in the third quarter. I thought James was strong. You know, of course he struggles against these big athletic defenders, but I thought he was strong. He looks a lot better than he did last season. I don't think anybody can argue that. And there was a couple of plays in this game that I didn't see from James last season against big defenders, and so I was happy about that. The Raptors go on a run to end the third quarter, and this is where the game got dicey, all right? The Sixers start to turn the ball over. You get James, who gets hacked across the arm and is busy yelling at the officials instead of getting back on defense. I think you got a Anthony Melton turnover in there somewhere. They gave up a couple easy transition buckets on the other end during that run. Pascal Siakam decides that he's a jump shooter now and starts making middies and fadeaway threes. You get a couple of bad calls at the same time. The officials in this game were absolutely horrendous. George Niang gets a technical foul for doing absolutely nothing. You could even see him on the TV screen walking toward the officials saying, "What did I say?" I don't know what was up with these officials in this game. They were very, very, very bad. Like I said, there was 2 blocks that Embiid had on Siakam that were both called goaltends. The technical on Niang. What happened in the fourth? I took all the notes. I'll tell you what happened in the fourth with the officials too, and in overtime. It was crazy, all right? But the Raptors went on an 11-0 run to end the third quarter. And that continued into the fourth. It actually ended up being a 19-1 run by the Toronto Raptors. And that lineup that Doc had success with in the second quarter, he tried again in the third, and it didn't work so well. And I always say that, bro. Truth always comes to light. Whatever other metaphor you want to use. Ball don't lie. I really like the term ball don't lie because it to me, that means the truth comes to light in basketball terminology. If something's happening on the court and you kind of know it looks like bullshit, ball don't lie, bro. Like, the basketball gods are going to make it make sense. So you run that same lineup in the third and you get smoked. 19-1 run by the Toronto Raptors in the third quarter. At the end of the third, into the fourth. And the lineup was this: Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, Daniel House Jr., George Niang, and Montrezl Harrell. Now, I know we're without Tyrese Maxey, but you got to be able to stagger your lineup better than that, Glenn. Glenn! Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, Daniel House Jr., George Niang, and Montrezl Harrell. Glenn, that's an awful lineup, bro. I guess you got a catch and shoot guy in Niang in that lineup. I guess Shake is the creator in that lineup. But Matisse Thybulle, Daniel House Jr., and Montrezl Harrell all on the floor together, I don't know. I know it's like, the roster is what it is. Who's he really supposed to play when Joel and Harden go to the bench? But I need with Maxey out, I need D'Anthony Melton to be a part of that lineup. I need D'Anthony Melton to be a part of that third end of the third quarter bench lineup. Like, I don't know, dude. I'm just saying that lineup got smoked at the end of the third into the fourth quarter, a 19-1 run. The fourth quarter started. The Raptors start turning up the defense. The Raptors go zone, and, I tweeted death, taxes, Sixers not having an answer for the Toronto Raptors zone defense. And it just gets it always looks like, and it has for a couple years now, it looks like when teams go zone against the Sixers, they don't have a plan. And this is a team that we kind of know now doesn't practice. Again, players have joked about the fact that Doc Rivers' practice schedule is nice and easy. When a team goes zone and the offensive side of the ball looks like they don't know what to do when a team goes zone, and this has now looked like this for a couple of years. Do you guys practice what to do if a team goes zone? I don't think they do. I really don't. It just looks like everything goes out the window, and we just got a bunch of, pick up ball at the YMCA, a bunch of dudes just trying to create something out of nothing. Now you have James Harden, an elite creator. You have Joel Embiid. So again, with Glenn Rivers' teams, if the players are good enough to just be better than the other team and score, yeah, you'll get away with it. But it just does not look to me like they've ever practiced what to do if a team runs a zone defense. And it gets very just stagnant. You get to the point where it looks like we're trying to be the Houston Rockets in 2016. Everybody's standing around watching James Harden. They got to do something about that. I feel like, and they beat the Raptors in the playoffs last year because the players were good enough and they can beat them again. But the teams are going to run zone against you. Again, I don't think it worked as well as it used to because we made shots. Tobias made shots. D'Anthony Melton was struggled the whole night, but he made shots in the fourth quarter. I guess I just don't really like what the Sixers look like against the zone defense, like in the past freaking 5 years. It started with Ben Simmons being the point guard. They were like, well, let's just go zone. This guy can't shoot, and nobody can shoot. Now, players are making shots to make a team pay for running a zone, but, Toronto Raptors, zone defense, we struggled. 19-1 run by the Toronto Raptors. Now, after the 19-1 run, my favorite two plays of the game. Here's my favorite two plays of the game. Are you ready? Are you ready? James Harden's at the top of the key. Joel gets great position underneath, but he's double-teamed. The Raptors leave D'Anthony Melton wide open in the corner. They say, this guy's 0 for 8. We're leaving him open. Here's Joel Embiid's facilitating prowess on display once again. James drops it underneath to Joel. Joel doesn't even catch the ball, bro. He volleyball tap passes it out to D'Anthony Melton at the three-point line. And D'Anthony Melton, 0 for 8. It doesn't matter. Because why? Because shooters shoot. I don't care if you're 0 for 8. I don't care if you're 1 for 10. I don't care if you're 2 for your last 27. If you know you can shoot, you are shooting the ball when you get an open shot. DeAnthony Melton, Mr. Do Everything, the most underappreciated player in the NBA, is 0 for 8 at this point. Joel still has the confidence in Mr. Do Everything to tap pass out to him at the three-point line in the corner. And without hesitation, he lets it fly and hits it. My second favorite play of the game was in overtime, which I think this is the play that got called back, but it was my favorite play. I think it was the play that got called back. Yeah, it was the play that got called back. But anyway, James Harden drives, loses the ball. DeAnthony Melton, Mr. Do Everything, picks up a loose ball, takes a dribble, drives, hits a skip pass to Tobias deep in the corner, who hits a three. I don't remember if that was the overtime play that got called back or not. I'll have to look at this. I'll have to look at all the plays. I'm going to have a play breakdown on YouTube tomorrow of just the craziness of the fourth quarter and overtime. So be on the lookout for that. But Mr. Do Everything, I love that guy. 0 for 8, kept shooting the ball, kept hustling, kept rebounding. DeAnthony Melton, gives you, what are my stats? DeAnthony Melton gives you 8 points, but more importantly, 7 rebounds, a steal, and just straight hustle and effort. And he was 3 for 14 from the floor. Let's continue, getting to the end of the fourth quarter and into overtime, because there's so much things that happened that I have opinions on. Okay. After Joel makes that amazing skip pass to PJ, or to DeAnthony Melton, I'm sorry, Pascal Siakam comes down the other end, and PJ Tucker's guarding Pascal one-on-one. And look, I say what I say about PJ Tucker getting $30 million to get cardio. I don't like when he passes up wide open threes. I'm tired of him catching the ball in the corner, pump fake dribble, pump fake pass. He hit a 1-3 in this game. He was 1 for 6, 1 for 5 from 3. He had a baseline floater that was horrendous. As soon as he put a Sixers jersey on, he just completely forgot how to score in the NBA. But I love this defense against Pascal Siakam. And Pascal dropped 38 in the game. It's Pascal. I don't know what we're doing with the roster, actually, when your only defender that you think can handle Pascal Siakam is 6'5", 38-year-old PJ Tucker. But I think he did a great job in certain situations of fighting. He got a lot of bad calls from these weird referees. I don't know what they were doing in this damn game. I think Nick Nurse influences the officials more than any coach in the NBA. I seriously think that. He's on the sideline the whole game in the boom, Mr. Rudy, on the money. Thanks for the super chat. Mr. Rudy says Nick Nurse is the biggest crybaby. Really enjoyed sending him home with his 6th straight L. Yeah, he just, bro, I get it. I get it. You're trying to give your team an advantage. But this guy, more than any coach in the NBA, is constantly in the officials' ear. He's focused on officials more than he's focused on his team, on the court, on the game. It's really, really annoying, and I really think he influences the officials more than any coach in the NBA. And you saw it towards the end of this game. But I thought PJ Tucker's effort on Pascal Siakam was great. And the late in the fourth quarter, Pascal has PJ one-on-one at the free throw line. PJ plays perfect defense. Pascal throws the biggest elbow that you could possibly throw. Extends it the whole 9. PJ didn't sell it enough, but come the hell on. The whole arena, you could see this offensive foul from space. And they don't call it. And he hits the shot. The crowd's going crazy. Booing, refs, you suck, the whole 9. So Pascal says, well, if I'm getting away with it, then I'm going to come down and do it again. He comes down, does it again, and the officials call an offensive foul. Pascal Siakam, let me get back to this point. Pascal Siakam gets a Giannis Antetokounmpo whistle. And I don't even like the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo gets that whistle, but Giannis Antetokounmpo is a superstar. So to me, as like from a business standpoint, I guess I'm like, okay, well, it's Giannis. He's an NBA superstar. He's one of the faces of the league. Whatever. It's entertainment. They're gonna help him out a little bit, even though he basically plays football. He dribbles, carries, shoulders the hell out of people, never gets called for an offensive foul, gets touch fouls left and right, on and on and on. But Pascal Siakam gets a Giannis Antetokounmpo whistle, and I can't stand it because he's a Dollar General Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a Five Below Giannis Antetokounmpo. You understand what I'm saying? He's a knockoff Amazon brand. Amazon Originals, you know? If you need an adapter for like your laptop or whatever, you don't want to pay the price for the Apple John and you just buy the Amazon Original, you know that shit's going to break in about 2 weeks. Pascal's the Amazon Original version of Giannis Antetokounmpo. But the whistle that he gets is annoying. It's ridiculous. He's allowed to push off. He's allowed to lower his shoulder. He's allowed to do all kinds of things like this. He gets touch fouls left and right. I can't stand it. He broke Joel's face last year. And even on the game-tying shot at the end of the fourth quarter, he hooked PJ Tucker. And I know they're not going to call that right there, but I'm just saying it just to say it. If you watch that play in slow motion, he drives and he gets the elbow right in PJ's gut and just gives him a little Pascal Siakam, boy. I don't have any skill. I don't have to make moves and use skillful basketball fundamentals to get to the rim when I could just fucking elbow you the hell out of my way. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And that's why they were chirping in the second quarter. And Pascal's doing this, you know. You guys talk. Bro, all you're doing is throwing elbows, man. Learn how to play the game. All right, what else, man? D'Anthony Melton hits another huge three in the fourth. The refs call another goaltend on the Joel Embiid Pascal block. They end up reviewing it. The ball hit the side of the rim, so technically it's a live ball rebound, so it wasn't a goaltend. Another bad call by the officials, and they had to admit it on the replay. So it goes to overtime, right? I didn't like what we did at the end of the fourth quarter. I don't like Joel catching the ball 40 feet from the rim, trying to create something out of nothing. And Pascal comes down and hits that floater, and it was a great shot. I didn't actually hate it that much. I was just saying, if you look at it in slow motion, he does elbow PJ Tucker in the chest, but it is what it is. They're not going to call that. It was a good shot to tie the game, send it to overtime, okay? Overtime, Joel gets the free throw line right away because I don't know what the hell, what the fuck's his name, man? Big lefty, Thaddeus Young. First of all, I didn't know Thaddeus Young was still in the NBA. That guy's got to be 46. He played for the 76ers before the process, before the tanking years. Like, I swear to God, Thaddeus Young was part of, like, the Allen Iverson, Andre Iguodala, Kyle Korver team in, like, 2007. Bro, how long has this dude been playing in the NBA? He's got to be going on 20 years. Anyway, Thaddeus Young is out there. I swear I thought that dude was retired a long time ago. And he reaches in on Joel and sends him to the foul line right when overtime starts. So we're up 2. Tobias Harris again hits the back-to-back threes. The one on the 4-point play, that was the one where Mr. Do Everything made a nice pass. James Harden turns it over. Didn't turn it over. Lost the ball. D'Anthony Melton, Mr. Do Everything, picks it up. Uses his head on the fly. Dribbles down the lane. Hits a crazy skip pass into the corner to Tobias Harris for a 3. And he gets fouled. They review it. And they call it an offensive foul on PJ Tucker. And which, like, I guess technically they called it a moving screen. But when you watch the replay, PJ's in position. His leg is kind of out. Scotty Barnes runs into his leg and dives into Tobias, so they call it a trip, kind of, like an illegal screen. The official comes up to the thing to announce to everyone what the hell's going on, but it doesn't work out because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. He says a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo that doesn't even make sense, and he's like, and then this happened, and so we called this, and there was the call is now an offensive foul on PJ Tucker. The 3-point shot counts because it went in before the foul, but the foul, and we're like, what the fuck is this guy saying? And then the officials get together again after the official review and say, wait a minute, it was an offensive foul before the shot, so the shot doesn't count. So they wipe away a 4-point play in overtime. That was insane. That was some insane blunders by an officiating crew. And then we get the ball. I'm not sure what the score was at the time, but DeAnthony Melton comes up to set a screen almost at half court for James Harden. Scotty Barnes or OG Anunoby, whoever it was, wraps his arm around him and kind of pulls him, and they call a moving screen on DeAnthony Melton, and even Ala Abdenabi's like, we didn't come here to see this. What were these officials doing, bro? Like, dude, this is a close game in the NBA. This is entertainment. People are watching it, and you're calling ticky-tack moving screens left and right? Who calls a moving screen almost at half court in overtime of an NBA game? Unless it's egregious, you can't call that. I don't know what these officials were doing. Anyway, that was a really bad call, too. And then PJ is on Siakam again in overtime with the game on the line. Plays good defense on him again, and Siakam has to force up a bad shot, and he misses it, and the Sixers win by 3. Just insane. Just crazy. Crazy game. The referees were out of control. I just have never... I've seen bad referees before. That was some of the worst that I've seen in a long time. Yeah. So the Sixers get the win in overtime, 104-101 to win their 5th straight game, 5 dubs. The Raptors aren't very good. Let's call it what it is. They're 13-17. Like I've been saying for a couple of years, and Raptors fans never wanted to hear this. Raptors fans don't want to hear this. They hate to hear this, but the Toronto Raptors are 13-18 now. They were 13-17 coming into this game. They're not very good. They haven't been very good since Kawhi Leonard left. And, Kyle Lowry goes to Miami, and Van Vliet, who was a career backup and was a very good backup point guard, but they overrated him the same way we would probably overrate some of our homegrown talent. But they thought, get Lowry out of here, and Van Vliet's going to be the future of this franchise, and on and on and on. And I think last year they started the season like 3-0, and Raptors fans were talking about the Toronto Raptors being in the NBA Finals. Bro, they're not that good. They have a lot of great athletes. They don't have a lot of great scorers. They have Pascal Siakam, who I don't think is a superstar. I think he forces up a lot of shots throughout the course of a game. I think he's a very good player. I just don't think they're that good. And ball don't lie. They are realizing now this season that they're not that good. Okay, they didn't have Gary Trent Jr. on the floor. Whoop-de-doo. What's he going to do? Drop 25 or drop 9? You never know what you're getting. But I just don't think they're very good. They play tough defense. They always play tough defense. Nick Nurse is on the sideline bitching the whole time, trying to control the officials. It is what it is. But I'm happy with the way that the Sixers fought through adversity yet again. I think that's what I'm taking away from these 5 wins. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be an easy win or a blowout. But when you clearly have the more talented team, how do you handle the adversity? And the Toronto Raptors went on a 19-1 run, 11-0 run to end the third quarter, 8-0 run to start the fourth. They went on a 19-1 run. And the Sixers were down by 7 with just a couple minutes left in the game, and they fought and they clawed and they got it together, and they pulled out the W. So I got to give them credit. Doc has been coaching good. Mere Stream says, I think so. I think Doc has been coaching good. I think even I am going to say that right now. Even I am going to say that right now. Glenn has been coaching good. The team looks in shape. The team looks like they're giving more effort in these past 5 games. And they look like when shit hits the fan, they don't lay over and die. You know, they fight, and they believe that they are the better team, and they pull out the W. So I got to give Doc credit. I hated the third quarter lineup that got murdered, 19-1 run. But this team is still missing Tyrese Maxey, and I just think, James Harden's always going to struggle against these big perimeter defenders, but 16-8 from Harden, 28, 11, and 4 from Joel. Tobias Harris was big time. Tell somebody that I'm a sharpshooter. Tobias Harris gets interviewed at the end of the game, and he says that game was crazy, but tell somebody that I'm a sharpshooter. Hey, listen. Trade value, Toby. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. You keep playing like this, and you keep showing one of these teams that you deserve to be the focal point of an NBA team. Trade value, Toby, in the building. But yeah, I can't, like I said, you're missing Tyrese Maxey. I didn't like the lineup. Doc Rivers found a way to bench Paul Reed for the rest of his career. Isaiah Joe had 23 the other night in a start for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It is what it is. I'm not going to spend the whole season saying fire Glenn. We know he's not getting fired. We have to live with it. But the last 5 games, I have seen more effort, fight, communication, and everything from this team. So I guess I got to give Glenn credit, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You'll be a superstar in Toronto, Toby. Let's go. Let's go, Toby. Ratchy boy, you think he was taking a shot at Jimmy Buckets by saying that? Tell somebody that I'm a sharpshooter. You know what? I guess we never really got to talk about what Tobias Harris thought of those comments from Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? Like that clip comes out of Jimmy putting us away in the playoffs, and which is annoying anyway because Joel Embiid had a broken face thanks to Pascal Siakam. But yeah, I guess I never really thought about what does Tobias Harris think about that. You see a player on TV saying, Tobias Harris over me? Tobias Harris over me? That's kind of grimy, bro. I might have hit Jimmy Butler up on the low on a text message or an Instagram DM and be like, bro, on the real, keep my name out of your mouth. You know what I mean? That does something to a grown man when you see another grown-ass man saying your name like that. So maybe Tobias Harris was taking a shot at that. Tell somebody that I'm a sharpshooter. And Jimmy Butler, I loved him. I loved him when he was here. I loved his grit. I loved his fight. I loved what he did in crunch time a lot of times for this team. But at the end of the day, I don't think Jimmy Butler is a superstar. I don't think Jimmy Butler has what it takes to lead a team to an NBA championship. And he hasn't won one. So as far as I'm concerned, Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris are both on the same level. Nobody has a ring. Nobody has one. I like what I'm seeing from this team. And, hopefully we get some updates on Tyrese Maxey coming up soon. There was a video that came out today of him practicing with James Harden. It was a little clickbaity, though, because Tyrese wasn't really doing anything. He was passing James the ball. Glenn came out and said, we're nowhere near where we want to be, or Tyrese is nowhere near where we thought he was. So it's tough. We hope that there's an update on Tyrese soon. But the way this team is playing, the chemistry, I just think the effort is at a season high right now. The resiliency, the camaraderie, the way they come together, the way they're gelling together, and the way they're fighting through some of these tough games and pulling out wins where, a game like this could have easily been a loss. So I think they're showing fight and they're showing a lot of camaraderie and a lot of resiliency and a lot of chemistry as this season goes on. So hopefully adding Tyrese Maxey to this mix just takes us up another notch. You know what I'm saying? Where's your takes in the chat? Below95, what's going on? Tobias is very unselfish. I think taking a shot at one of the nicest players in the NBA is a weak move. I agree. Like on a personal level. You know what I mean? I say what I think. I've said what I thought, about Tobias Harris's game in the NBA, but I would never say anything about him personally. Like, he seems like a nice guy. He seems like he's a nice, well-spoken, respectful guy. He does a lot for communities and charities, and he's a nice dude. So yeah, I feel you, especially as another NBA player. Like, you guys are supposed to be in kind of a brotherhood, right? Like, you're all supposed to kind of have each other's backs as NBA players. So yeah, don't say my name like that. You know what I mean? Why are you taking shots at me, bro? Because I got paid and you left? Yeah. I feel that. Ernest Agwu, you're naturally hilarious. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. If that's the only thing I have going for me in life, hopefully it pays off. I appreciate it. Maxey was needed for this type of Speed Demon. What's up, bro? Thanks for being here. Maxey was needed for this type of game. If he was playing, he would have cooked the Raptors like he did last time he played against him. Yeah, I hope we hear something soon, man. I want Tyrese Maxey back. Like to have him back before Christmas time. Maybe a Christmas present for us Sixers fans as we get Tyrese Maxey back. You want to get him back with enough time. Again, I don't think it's going to take Tyrese a lot of time to get back into the groove of playing basketball. He's a young dude and he's in very good shape. But yeah, you want to have him back with enough time to, get back into the groove and get the chemistry going with the rest of the team and things as you move towards, January, February, and then you really get into the nitty-gritty of the later NBA season where things get real. Yeah, hopefully we hear something about Tyrese, man. Let me get some takes in the chat, man. You guys got takes on the game, what you think about the game tonight, what you think about the team in general, thoughts, comments, concerns, hot takes, whatever it is, man, or questions if you got questions. I don't know. I'm not a basketball expert, but if you want to ask me some questions, go ahead also. I want to see Toby guard Jimmy next matchup. I would like that too. Jay Vicious, I would like that too. Nick21, what's up? Glenn is too busy liking inappropriate pictures on Twitter than coaching the team properly. Hey, he said he got hacked. All right? He said he got hacked. That's actually funny, though, because old people getting caught on the internet is funny to me because technology to them is new, and so they don't know all the ins and outs and how to use it. Doc, if you want to look at weird things on Twitter, just look at it. Why would you hit the like button, bro? Big Mike, I listen to no other sports talk people than you. Hey, man, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. I try to listen to as many others as I can. I have my favorites, the people that I work with. Also, RB and Philly Mike, and I'm a big fan of Lord Brunson on YouTube when it comes to Eagles content, and of course Romp and Greg when we can get Greg on board. But I try to listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of sports podcasts, a lot of Sixers podcasts, man, and they're just so boring, bro. They're so boring. Bro, look, let me show you guys something, man. We are right here. When you go to Apple Podcasts and you type in 76ers, We on the first page? Oh, we're just on the second page right there. Run it back Philly right next to the rights to Ricky Sanchez. I've been listening to the rights to Ricky Sanchez for a long time, couple of years. Shout out to Spike Eskin and Mike Levin. But the rest of these, man, NBA writers doing podcasts, bro, they're so boring. They're so boring, dude. So, like, podcasting is the new wave, right? It's the new craze. It's the new popular thing to do. It's the media of the future. Everybody knows that. But still, like, podcasting is something that everybody maybe shouldn't do. I just think you have to be really, like, projected and animated with your voice and the way you say. I don't know, man. Like, there's so many guys that have written for the NBA for so long, right? They're just writers. They're dudes behind a desk that write. They're great writers. And now the owners of the companies are like, "Oh, we got to get you on a pod. We got to do podcasts now." Then you get these dudes that never talked on a microphone that make a podcast because the company said, "Hey, we got to jump into podcasting." And you listen to it, and they're just so fucking boring, dude. They're like, "Well, we're going to talk about the Sixers and their recent 5-game road trip and their winning streak here. And Joel Embiid's looked great for the past couple of games. John, what do you think about the Philadelphia 76ers basketball team?" Turn it off! I can't. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be cocky, but I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, bro. They suck. Anyway, the Sixers take the Toronto Raptors out in overtime. No, I like Devon Givens. You know who I can't listen to is Keith Pompey, bro. Keith is brutal on the podcast. Keith sounds half asleep when he records the podcast. He sounds like he's drooling and, like, eating something. Like, bro. Anyway, Sixers take out the Toronto Raptors in overtime, 104-101. It was a crazy game. At least it was entertaining. You really should do... Yeah, it was a crazy game. It was entertaining. At least it was entertaining. I like a good, entertaining regular season game. So here we are, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. 285 people in here. Everybody hit the like button, man. Let me get 285 likes before we go out. You know what, man? Prince said, I wish I got to rewind that. Hey, you know what? I'm just going to clip that out, and I'm going to post it on YouTube that says podcasts are boring. Because I don't care anymore. And I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. When I first started YouTube, or when my YouTube started getting a decent following and I started getting contacted by businesses to sponsor the show and whatever else, and I always kind of knew I did this to say what I really want to say. And I always knew that I wasn't going to change anything about the way that I do things for a business. I know the right business opportunities will come along. There's a lot of companies that contact me and want to sponsor the show, but they want me to, tone it down, or like, we got to be clean. You know what I mean? Don't even hit my email with that soft shit. But I've realized now, and I used to also kind of censor myself a little bit and keep it toned down because of the YouTube bots and trying not to get canceled on YouTube or whatever. But the more it grows on the podcast side of things, I've realized that I am a brand, and what I say is the brand. And the more and more I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about it, the more it's going to be respected. So I'm just going to continue to stay true to myself, say whatever the hell I want. And if people don't like it, they can not like it. But, in the beginning, I kind of was maybe teetering on, like, should I say this? Should I say that? Our business is going to want to sponsor the show if I say this, or this. But I've learned that keeping it 100 is going to get me where I want to be. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. We'll see you on the next one, man. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Listen to the podcast.